Hi, my beautiful pet lovers. I will read a real-life story about a kitten's adoption. I wanted to write on here because, a year and a half ago, I adopted a 12-week-old kitten from a rescue, and I had severe adoption regret. I was on Reddit looking for advice, almost on a daily basis. I gave my cat a chance, even though I was really scared of the commitment. July 2023, I adopted an orange male tabby. He was neutered, and really shy but sweet. After driving 2 hours to go pick him up, I knew I had a challenge ahead. Since my small dog hates strangers, people and animals alike, the first few days were gradual and slow. Then the weeks became chaotic. His rambunctious kitten personality was starting to get to me mentally. He was confined to the bathroom when he first came in. Then I put a baby gate up for my dog to interact. Then he would squeeze through the baby gate and a dog-cat chase would occur. I was at my breaking point. I legitimately didn't have any sleep for weeks. I would cry all the time. It felt extremely draining and isolating to handle and reminded me every day why I should have just adopted an older cat. I originally wanted an adult. 3 months went by, and I still felt the same way. I felt a lack of love for him actually. I could tolerate him for the most part, but it seemed like a cat tween phase. It was disheartening for me to read that this could last anywhere from a year, 2, 3 years. I was so over it. At this point, I would go to pet him, and he'd be sweet for a minute, and then clench his claws, bite me, and run away. Despite all this, he wasn't a bad cat, ever. Never hissed, never held a grudge. He was mostly just really annoying to me, and clueless. Never wanted to cuddle, and I kept comparing him to my cuddly derpy dog. Since my cat was just more independent, and only sought me out rarely, zoomies almost every other night, meowing at 3 a.m. 7 a.m. incessantly. Even when I'd play with him for an hour before bed, I'd find bitten cables and claw marks on so many things, even with scratching posts and cardboard around. I was so done at this point. I reached out to the rescue foster lady who adopted him out to me, and she actually berated me about not being 100% committed and her being confused. Not only was I not expecting this level of disruption to my life, I was expecting understanding and support from her, as I didn't feel prepared to take on a kitten. But she bluntly ended the conversation with, "Bring him back to me tomorrow. The longer he is with you, the harder it is to find another home for him." That flipped a switch in me, as I looked at him gently playing with my shoes. So I started to cry, not knowing what to do. I felt really deeply that he would be a great cat to someone, and even more, as he ages. But I was so worn thin. Then I read back all the messages she sent me. How nasty she was on the Facebook group to people who had circumstances of returning a cat. E.g., someone got deployed overseas. Another had an extremely destructive and feral type kitten. I didn't want to give in to their judgment, let alone be blasted by those ruthless cat people online. I held on to hope and got support from my cat friends and listened to their stories. Some were worse than mine, and turns out they love their cats for who they are. Even if it took some time to get used to, it's all part of their growing and getting used to the home. A year goes by and I realize it was all true. My cat mellowed out with time, and man, he's an amazing cat. I love him, and I am so glad I didn't give in and return. He still has zoomies, but maybe once or twice a week. He also doesn't bite things or needlessly scratches anymore, so there's nothing new. He's ruined since back then. He lays around a lot. He loves to be pet and purrs. He's still not cuddly, but I cherish the moments when he lays beside me or rubs on my legs. Him and my dog are buddies and typically leave each other alone now, so the house is generally quiet and calm. The type of cat he is now is what I wanted to have in the beginning, but the patience paid off. So now, a year and a half later, I'm cat sitting for a week, and I realize again how great of a cat he is. The new cat is a 3-year-old female, really grumpy, and hisses and swats at him. But he's chill, wants to play, respects her space. I wouldn't have known this if I returned him back at 3 months. It takes time to develop that bond, so never feel guilty if you haven't in the beginning. I'd argue it took probably a whole year for me to feel confident in feeling that. I also can understand not every cat is or will turn out the same way. But if you're like me and have 50-50 doubts on keeping, you might want to consider just trying. Mentally, it is a struggle. Make sure you have people who can listen or offer support. The best support I got was from people just letting me vent. Better if they have cats or experience. Another tip is to remember that material things can be replaced. I had to curb my anger many times when I saw my bar stools or cables clawed or bitten. These items were still functional, but even if he had torn through them, I channeled that into his needs. Cats need things to scratch and release stress or energy. It's in their nature. As long as you see it in that way, get scratchers and toys, cover things up, or put those things in a drawer. It gets easier. I've had to put tinfoil around my doors and some baseboards, so my place, it a little cat-proofed, doesn't look the best, but it has saved me that frustration. Since I rent, lastly, I want to say, I really love animals, but I don't believe 100% commitment works in everyone's case because you never know their individual personality. In your home when you sign those papers, kids or other pets can alter how they interact. It may not always be a perfect fit, and I think that is okay. Shame is what that rescue made me feel when I wanted the best possible life for this little guy and felt like it wasn't with me. My heart always had the best intentions since the beginning, and to be insulted after all I had gone through alone was hurtful and painful. If you know you tried your best and really couldn't make things work, that ultimately lies with you, not anyone else's input. If it protects your peace at the end of the day and you reached your limit, what matters most is getting that animal in a home suited for their needs and their happiness. And your happiness, this is how it turned out for us, and maybe it can give someone out there some hope. Wishing everyone who read this luck and support. Hope you like listening to this real-life story from Reddit. If you like my efforts to bring you this story, you may subscribe to my channel to support me. Thank you so my dear friends. Take care, be happy, and stay safe.